Welcome to How to Manifest Gigs, Power and Fame, the podcast and learning space for entertainment professionals who want to build stronger careers, sharper creative instincts, and a deeper sense of identity in an industry that never stops shifting. Whether you work in front of the camera, behind the camera, or somewhere in the vast ecosystem that keeps a production alive, your creative identity is the foundation that determines how you move, collaborate, and grow. Today's topic is how to build an unshakable identity. Now entering the mic, our host, your entertainment coach and author, Ruth M. James.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you to my coaching clients and every entertainment professional tuning in today. My name is Ruth M. James, and I am your entertainment goal coach. Several years ago, I decided to share my personal and professional entertainment experiences in the book How to Manifest Gigs, Power and Fame. That book became the foundation for this podcast. For more than 20 years, I've worked in film, television, radio, stage, theater, and coaching. I, too, have seen and experienced the emotional highs, the unexpected lows, the breakthroughs, the heartbreaks, and those stellar moments that seem to change a life in just the blink of an eye. I hope this podcast becomes your go-to place where you can learn, grow, and strengthen your career from the inside out. Now, let's get into the conversation. I'm excited to support you as you build a stronger, more powerful identity because creative identity is the one thing that determines the flight path of your entire career. It influences how you show up, communicate, handle pressure, and make decisions. It affects the way people perceive you, the way they remember you, and the way they talk about you when you're not in the room. Ultimately, your identity will translate into your public image. Creative authenticity is not branding. It is not your resume. It is not your social media presence. It's not the roles you've booked or the projects you've worked on. Creative identity is your internal guidance system that shapes everything you do. It is the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you bring to the industry. It is the standard you hold yourself to, even when no one is watching. It is the way you respond to rejection, opportunity, conflict, and change. Basically, it is who you are on the inside that becomes reflected on the outside. Most people think identity is something you discover. Professionals know identity is something you build. And today, we're going to explore how to build an identity that is strong, grounded, and unshakable. Creative authenticity is a combination of your beliefs, values, habits, emotional patterns, and creative point of view. It is the way you see, internalize, and react to the world and yourself. It is like the camera lens through which you make decisions, take risks, and navigate uncertainty. When your identity is strong, you move with confidence, a clear sense of where you are going in your career. You may not have the exact path laid out or plan to reach your career goals. However, you know where you want to ultimately end up. We humans have an innate sense. We know basically what we will and will not do in our quest for success in our careers and personal lives, even if we don't give any real thought to it or talk about it. Of course, the variable is what one will do in an emergency situation. With respect to today's show, our emergency does not include being stranded on an island and having to eat something disgusting to survive, or even having to jump off a cliff to escape or swim across a raging river. An emergency might be getting a call for a gig that is against your morals or identity, finding yourself in a difficult situation with a coworker or senior staff member. Typically, your subconscious has a plan of how you will hypothetically handle difficult situations. Your decision-making process stems from your confidence in yourself at the core of your being. You know what you want, what you stand for, and what you will not compromise. You know the kind of work that communicates your needs, your boundaries, and your expectations. When your identity is weak, you become reactive. You chase validation. You take jobs out of fear instead of alignment. You compare yourself to others, which is always a big no-no. You shrink in the presence of strong personalities instead of standing up and speaking out. You lose your voice in meetings and conversations, not speaking your truth when needed. Creative identity is not about ego. It is about grounding. It is about knowing who you are so deeply that the industry cannot shake you, redirect you, or convince you to abandon yourself. A strong, creative identity is built on 3 pillars: clarity, competence, and character. Most of us have never really given thought to all of these pillars. It is well worth your time to make the effort. I suggest taking 10 minutes out of your day, preferably in the morning. Sit in a quiet space and just think about the pillars. Focus on only one per day, or spend 10 minutes every day for a week. I guarantee you will gain an insight into who you are that you had never realized prior to the exercise. Of course, you can start with any of the pillars. I do suggest starting with pillar clarity. It becomes the basis of where you want to go in your career. Example, if you want to be a dancer, what is your ultimate goal at this moment for your future? Clarity is the foundation. You must know who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates consistency. When you are reasonably clear as to who you are at your core, you stop chasing every opportunity and start choosing the opportunities that align with your purpose. Don't be too hard on yourself. Finding who you are is a process that takes time and effort. Allow yourself the freedom and time to find your way. I think this is where a great amount of creativity really resides, when professionals in the entertainment industry are not seeing or getting the work they want. Instead of complaining about what is not happening in their careers, some brave souls make the decision to create a project that satisfies their needs. In the process, they create new paths and opportunities for themselves and others that may never have existed without their discontent that ultimately led to their determination, decisions, and finally actions. Actions that build and reinforce self-trust. Competency is the second pillar. It is the reinforcement of who you are. Skill strengthens identity. When you train, study, practice, and refine your craft, you build trust in yourself. During your moments of thought on competency, ask yourself without ridicule or slander, how can I become more competent in my field or department? What skills would give you more opportunities in your area of expertise? Here it is about self-improvement, simply taking what we have as skills, knowledge, or experience and expanding our scope. You also build trust with the people who hire you. Competency is not about perfection. It is about mastery. It is about understanding your craft so deeply that you can adapt, collaborate, and innovate under pressure. The third and final pillar, your character, is the expression. Your identity is not only defined by what you create, but also by how you operate. Character is the way you communicate, the way you handle conflict, the way you show up on set, and the way you treat people. Character is what gets you rehired. It is what builds your reputation. It is what makes people say, I want to work with them again. Whether you realize it or not, your identity influences every decision you make. It determines the jobs you accept, the jobs you decline, the way you negotiate, the way you collaborate, and the way you recover from setbacks. People with weak identities chase opportunities because they fear missing out. People with strong identities attract opportunities because they move with intention. Their life condition or life energy draws opportunities to them. They may not accept the job, however, they have the opportunity to say yes or no. Identity shapes the way you handle rejection. When your identity is weak, rejection feels personal. When your identity is strong, rejection becomes information. Identity shapes the way you handle success. When your identity is weak, success feels fragile. You may find yourself always worried about what others think about you. Their opinions can become the basis of how you make career decisions. You literally become a yes person, and not in a good way. When your identity is strong, success feels like a natural extension of who you are. You can be objective about your decisions. No matter whether a once good situation turns into a difficult one, you move through it in a positive way. Identity shapes the way you handle pressure. When your identity is weak, pressure breaks you. I am sure you have seen people on the set. When things go wrong or become difficult, they begin to run in circles in a panic, unable to get it together. When your identity is strong, pressure reveals you. Because you have clarity about who you are and are competent, you make decisions that are based on logic, experience, and level-headedness. There are several traps that can damage or weaken creative identity. The first is the chameleon trap, where you make the decision to change yourself to fit in for every gig or every demanding personality. This creates confusion and dilutes your presence. The second is the comparison trap, where you measure your worth against the progress of others. This disconnects you from your own path and creates unnecessary anxiety. The third is the survival trap, where you take anything because you fear nothing else will come. This keeps you stuck in cycles that do not support your growth. The fourth is the imposter trap, where you believe you are not ready even when you are. This keeps you from stepping into opportunities that are meant for you. The fifth is the perfection trap, where you wait for everything to be flawless before you move. This keeps you stagnant and prevents you from building momentum. I once received wise words regarding this very subject. He said, "Go, do it, because you will never be ready." He was right. I have clients who have spent the last 20 years getting ready. Unfortunately, they will most likely spend the next 20 years still getting ready. In the end, when their life has passed them by, they will wonder why their careers never developed and delivered the way they had always imagined. Before we continue, here is a brief message from the Entertainment Resource Library. Let's take a short break. I will see you on the other side.
The Entertainment Resource Library is a cinematic membership space designed for entertainment professionals who want structure, clarity, and confidence in their careers. Inside the library, you'll find workbooks, worksheets, guided tools, and industry-specific resources that support every stage of your creative journey. Whether you're building your portfolio, preparing for a pitch, strengthening your communication, or reinventing your creative identity, the library gives you the tools to move forward with intention, explore the full collection, and unlock the resources that elevate your craft and your career. Back to today's host, Ruth M. James.
Welcome back. I think we have covered a lot of information today. I would like to briefly summarize. Again, the topic for today was how to build an unshakable creative identity. Building a strong creative identity begins with defining your creative point of view. This is the lens through which you see your craft, your industry, and your contribution. Your point of view becomes your signature. It becomes the reason people remember you. Next, you must consider creating a personal standard of excellence. Excellence is not perfection. Excellence is the commitment to showing up consistently, learning continuously, and delivering work you are proud of. Excellence is sustainable. Excellence is respected. Excellence is the foundation of longevity. Identity is also built through habits. The way you train, the way you prepare, the way you communicate, and the way you recover from setbacks all reinforce the identity you are building. Identity grows through repetition, especially when the repetition is intentional. Your environment also plays a significant role. The people you surround yourself with, the spaces you work in, and the habits you maintain either strengthen or weaken your identity. Finally, identity becomes stronger when you act in alignment with it. Even small actions reinforce who you are becoming. Every time you choose integrity, preparation, clarity, or courage, you strengthen the identity that will carry you forward. Well, that is a wrap. Thank you for spending this time with me. Strengthening your creative identity is one of the most powerful investments you can make in your career. Again, thanks for joining. See you next week.
This has been How to Manifest Gigs, Power, and Fame. The information in this podcast is for educational and motivational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional advice, and no specific results are promised or guaranteed. Your success depends on your own decisions, actions, and circumstances. By listening to this show, you agree that all choices and outcomes are your responsibility. A Ruth M. James production.